Welcome to the Mindfulness of Singing, and I'm Denise, your sassy, spunky scientist.
And I'm Tony, your bubbly, big-hearted flower child.
Our podcast features practical tips and tools for a journey of transformation using the healing power of your voice.
Each podcast, we will delve into the mind, body, and spirit connection by interviewing inspirational guests, sharing personal stories, and discussing the most recent scientific research.
Tune in and join our community of mindful singers.
I'm super excited about our guest today.
Me too. Me too.
He has certainly accomplished a great deal in the singing world. So let me tell you a little bit about, I know you already know, but our listeners, Robert Lunte. He is the author of The 4 Pillars of Singing and producer of the world's largest online vocal technique program on the planet. Through his Vocalist Studio, he's helped over 100,000 singers from 79 countries around the world. In the last 2 years, he's pivoted from focusing mainly on that to another company, CourseCREEK, and they help individuals create online course content because of all the success that he has had in his own program. So he's a really a dynamic leader in the singing world, and I can't wait to hear what he's up to with his new program. In fact, I checked out CourseCREEK as well, and he has quite a team of individuals that are creating that program together. So I know we're going to have a great time.
Cool. Hello, Robert. How are you today, this evening, this afternoon? I don't know what day it is, but hello.
Hey.
Hello and welcome.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you for bringing me on to your show. I look forward to sharing what I have to say with the millions of viewers that you have.
Oh, yes.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Absolutely. He's speaking it into the universe, I think.
I like that. I like the way he's talking. It's coming.
Yeah. Think big. Think big.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is great. That's part of what we talk about is mindset. Mindset's huge. We talk about that almost every week, don't we?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Absolutely.
And now it's my turn.
Absolutely. And we want to hear everything you have to say about that. But first, tell us, how did you get into music? Tell us about that.
Wow. That's going way back. I have there's actually a recording that exists on a YouTube video of me singing Zippity Doo Dah when I'm 3 years old.
Aww.
You can dig it up. But let's see, music. Really, I would say probably when I was 14, 15 years old, somebody turned me on to Ozzy Osbourne and Maiden and a bunch of heavy metal rockers from the 80s, and it just seeped into my soul, and it and there it stayed. So that was the beginning. But in regards to voice coaching and singing seriously and training seriously, that's a different kind of inspiration. That started a few years after that, maybe good 5 to 6 years, when I started listening to Jeff Tate from Queensryche and Steve Perry from Journey, and these fellows that would sing, male voices that would bridge the passaggio, enter the head voice, and yet remain sounding modal, full, and chesty. I've always had a fetish for that. I love the masculinity behind it. I love the heroism that sort of comes from belting in the head voice. So is that answering your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love the glam rock era for sure. And, I grew up on it, dig it. And Steve Perry is an all-time favorite. Journey, lead singer for oh my gosh. Grace Slick was the lead singer for a long time. And then this guy came in really young. Jefferson Starship.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I wish I could remember his name, but
I used to know it.
Yeah, but he's the guy. Yeah, no. He's the guy that sings,
Oh, we lost your sound.
no, 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 no. It's you and me, girl. No, you can't hear that, or you do.
Can you hear us, Robert?
can
Because we
hear you.
can't hear you all of a sudden.
You
I
can't
can
hear
hear him.
me?
I can hear him. You missed that solo. I heard it.
Can you hear me, Denise? Hello, Denise. Denise can't hear me. I can hear you, Denise. I can hear you. And Tony can hear me.
Tony, can you hear Robert?
Yes, yes,
We
You can hear
too.
Robert. So
Yes.
it's just me. Oh my
yes.
God.
That's why I
What
said.
the hell? All right, hang on.
So, anyways, who is that guy? Oh, Mickey. It's coming.
Okay, yes, thank you. All right, it's the earbuds.
Jefferson Airplane.
Turned into Jefferson Starship when he came on.
Starship. Mick or Mickey. Forgive me on that, but he's the one that sings that amazing song. You guys all know it. Jane, you think it's all over for you and me, girl.
Yes.
Keyboard stab, time. That is the best vocal track. I tell you, man. I made a post on that on my Facebook group.
Jane, you think it's all over. That's what he does. And
Jane. You're right. Yeah, it's a D. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're off to a good start. Great singers, rockers. That's what does it for me. That's it. We can wrap this whole thing up. I mean, it's male voices that are super high. I don't give a darn about glam or what they're wearing. It's all
Right.
about the technique. It's about their voice. It's about the precision and the training that it takes to be able to do that. To belt in your head voice like that and not hurt yourself and get vibrato behind it and everything, it is superhuman, and I love it.
Yeah, who's the big rocker from like the 80s, maybe late 80s, mid 80s perhaps, and it was a very hardcore band and the tenor would just rock out high C's all the time.
I'm gonna just take a guess. Was it distortion? Was it distortion-y sort of, or was it clean?
It was clean.
Oh boy, that's gonna be more difficult. Here's the thing. In the 80s, which is part of why we got here, there were a lot of cats that were doing that. It was a thing. It was a trend to be a male voice, go super high, belt super high with vibrato and a sort of kind of pseudo classical precision to the training. And I fell right into that trend as a kid. And that's why, for me, vocal training and singing has always been, in addition to the art and the pleasure of it, has always been a lot about training, practicing, and working on your skills, because you cannot sing like those guys did in the late 70s, more into the 80s, unless you've got some kind of training. I mean, there's a few exceptions, people, but if you work on your chops, you can get there.
Right.
Then the grunge scene hit, and suddenly it's really sad. Suddenly it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool to bridge to passaggio and have beautiful lyrical vibrato and power in the head voice. It was just sort of shouting.
Yeah, well, same for women, same for rocking women, right? Like Pat Benatar and all the oh my gosh, the sisters, the two sisters, the Lennox sisters, Annie Lennox for sure, but
Ann and Nancy Wilson,
the Wilson sisters apart.
So the Wilson sisters and Jeff Tate from Queensryche and Chris Cornell and Lane Staley and Liza Minnelli and a bunch of other people, we all had the same voice coach. It's a little bit about my past. So there's a famous voice coach from Seattle. He's no longer with us. His name is Maestro David Kyle. And so we were from the Kyle camp, and Maestro Kyle did some really interesting things that I continue to do today as an inspiration. He trained with a microphone. So you go to a Maestro Kyle lesson, you would train with amplification. He was very much on passaggio bridging and head voice work. So yeah, that's where Ann Wilson came from. She's absolutely amazing.
Love her. Always loved her. Loved her, loved her, loved her. And
Have
the
to.
thing is then after that, then they, you know, you're right. Not only did it not become cool for for males, but it also wasn't cool for women, right? Like singing breathy became the thing. Just drove me nuts.
I didn't know that, but when I hear female voices that don't belt and get some fat and some closed quotient, get some, you know, some connectivity up there, I'm sorry, it doesn't work for me singing windy and sort of the easy stuff without compression and belty closed quotient. It doesn't work for me. Why? Because it's kind of easy to do that, isn't it? Isn't it sort of easy to open the glottis and blow wind?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I think most, you know, especially in the early 2000s and in the 2000s, most female pop singers, my hairdryer had more clothes in its vocal folds. I mean, it's just so breathy and uninteresting. So I feel like we missed this entire generation of these truly great pop singers that could just wail and belt anything. And then all of a sudden we didn't have that anymore.
You know, those kinds of singers do still exist. You can go to these singing shows, and sometimes there's like, you know, they're like fantastically talented people. It's just that the industry doesn't put them forward.
Right.
If the industry put forward the Ann Wilsons of today and they're out there, then the consumers would love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So you came in as a singer, and then you studied with the dude in Seattle.
Maestro David Kyle.
Maestro David, yeah. And then you started teaching lessons.
I did. I was a technology sales guy in the internet bubble blow up, and when the bubble popped in the late 90s, it was really difficult to find a job. And I was a singer, and so I thought, gosh, you know, I need to pay my bills. I'm gonna start teaching. Part-time thing, see what I can do. And I started teaching, and one student turned into three students turned into five students turned into all weekend, and all weekend turned into a full week thing. And I suddenly slipped into something that I had absolutely no plan to do. It's not my plan to become a voice coach, really. It's just I sort of got pulled into it because I'm sort of like an idiot savant at it. Like it's like this, I'm like really good at voice coaching, and so I just stuck with it and played it all the way through.
Why do you think you're so good at it? I mean, what do you think made you so good at it? Is it figuring out your own voice? Is that?
Well, it sounds a little weird. Well, I think I'm so good because
no, I realized once I asked it what that sort of sounded like. That's not how I meant it.
It's okay. I am good.
Clearly, but I mean, I feel like people who. Okay, here's my theory. My theory is that
I'll answer that question honestly.
Okay.
I can't answer that.
Yeah.
I think that I spent 12 years with Maestro Kyle, and he was really a flamboyant, charismatic, old school maestro. He had, for example, he had really super long, gray, silvery braid hair that went down to his ass. And so and that wasn't the only coach I've had, but my first coach was him. And I was I think from him, not realizing it at the time, or even when I was beginning to coach, but looking back at it, I realized that some of my ability to sort of listen and respond and have intuition towards what I'm hearing and how to get a complex and abstract idea explained properly for a student to get a result came from 12 years of working with a really brilliant voice coach, a world-class coach. So that has a part of it. The other part of it is that I've always trained. I eat my own dog food, I practice, and Even the programs and the scale and the courses that we produce have content in it, Vocalist content that I've written and developed. So when students train with me, they're training my content, our skills, my workouts. And so I'm very much on the front lines, demonstrating, leading by example. And so when you're doing that, when there's two mics in the room and you're training with your student, there's that's a powerful teaching tool and a way to get people to move forward. And then one more thing I'd like to share with you on that. When I was developing as a voice coach, there was a period of time, I specifically remember this, there was a period of time where I would use the coaching experience with live students as a means to practice. And I think we all do that, but I was very conscientiously practicing on my student, and I was practicing my talk track. So I would say, gosh, I got 8 hours. I got to do this for 8 hours today. Other than offering a good service, what else can I do to get the most out of this? So I went through a period of time where I would practice explaining things like vocal modes and formants and vowels and whatever it is that we talk about as voice coaches. And what that did is it made me get better and better and better at explaining these abstract concepts, to a point where I just had it all scripted in my head. And that really helped a lot when I made a conscientious effort to get better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you something. When you have a student that you feel like has like enormous talent, and the chops are there, the voice is there, but you can't just get them to move forward, how important do you think mindset is in that regard?
When you say move forward, let's clarify, move forward with what?
Maybe their own vocal technique, maybe not being in their own head, perhaps.
Okay, so if I have somebody with great talent,
Mm-hmm.
obviously great talent, and there is a sense of not moving forward, more times than not, that would mean, quite frankly, they're not practicing and doing the work. So what would I do with that particular case study?
Mm-hmm.
I would, I tend to teach with tough love from time to time. I would say, Joe, stop. Turn Vocalist off. We have pre-recorded tracks. Hang up my microphone. It's a little bit of an act. Hang up my microphone and say, you haven't practiced. I know you haven't. You're not going to fool me. I've been doing this since I'm 15 years old, and I've been doing it for 8 hours every day for 15 years. You haven't practiced. Oh gosh, yeah, I know. Oh, you got me. Yeah, I haven't. Well, here's the deal.
Tony, I hear we have a fantastic announcement.
We do indeed. Denise, where are you going to be on Tuesday, June 15th at 7 o'clock?
Tuesday, June 15th at 7 o'clock. Tuesday, June 15th from 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Eastern Daylight Time, very important. Molto
Eastern
importante.
Standard Daylight Time.
Yes.
June. I don't know. I'm trying to. Oh, I know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be with you.
There
And we're
you
going to
go.
be doing a play shop.
That's right. It's time to play, and we want you all to come and join us so it's even more fun. This is a chance to explore singing and meditation and good vibrations, and we guarantee fun. So come and play and join us. When are you going to be there, Denise?
June the 15th at 7 o'clock, and that's a Tuesday. And I will have gotten off work if I'm working, and I will have fed my family or eaten my dinner or whatever. And then I'll be ready to do something for myself, because self-care is important.
Yes, indeed. Yes, this is great self-care. Self-care for your body, your mind, your spirit, and inspiration for singing. So we can't wait for you to join us. And I bet they're wondering, how do they join us, Denise? What do they need to do?
They need to go to the mindfulnessofsinging.com and register.
Register right on the website. So let's get back to the podcast. We can't wait to see you all on Tuesday, June 15th, 7
I-
o'clock.
I'm going to be there.
If you
I'm gonna
want
be
to
there.
achieve the goal and the dreams and all these things that we talked about when you first came in, heck, it's what we talked about at the beginning of this lesson. We talk about it at every lesson. You're going to have to put in the time. So make a decision whether or not you're going to do that or not, and let me know. Apart from the fact that my time is valuable as well. And I would like to know that the time and energy I'm putting into this that I'll never get back is going to be time that will account for something. So is it just a little bit of a shaming session or whatever, or a reality check session? That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't babysit students.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't coddle students. That definitely doesn't work.
Right.
If they're, adults. And when they're kids, I don't even coddle them really.
Mm-hmm.
Either you're going to step up and do the work and train and practice and get better and commit to it, or you're not. And if you're not, it's fine. It's okay. Go sing. Love it. Make it part of your life. But there's a different level of person that puts in the time and energy and works on their chops. And so you have to sort of decide what kind of career path you want, or what kind of relationship you want with singing, with vocal training. And it's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. I don't want to give that impression. It's just, what do you want to be? Do you want to be sort of the amateur guy that gets by good enough, or do you want to be the person that absolutely floors people every single night and quite possibly gets a better gig and actually gets paid?
Right.
It's your decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I'm a tough love kind of teacher. So
I don't own my students' lack of motivation.
mm-hmm.
I don't own it one bit. It can come and go.
Yeah, that's pretty hard, I think, for a lot of teachers. I think a lot of teachers sort of, their students' failure and or successes are their own. And I try not to own that. I try to be like, this is your success or your failure. It is not mine. I've done my part. You got to do yours.
Amen, Denise, especially as you get deeper into your career. Early on, you're bending over backwards. You got a bigger heart the size of Texas. And we always do, but I'm bending over backwards for sure early on in my career. As time goes on, you just realize you just sort of get tired of that. In part because you just know it's not working. So you just get to the point at some point in your career as a voice coach where, my door is open. If those of you that are going to train, great. And those that are not going to train, great. Either way, I'm going to get paid. I'm going home tonight. And I love you all, but I don't own your failure. I'm not here to babysit. It's you. That might sound sort of cold, I suppose, but after 20 years, 15, 20 years, coaches can kind of get to that point. And I think it's a healthy position.
I think it is too, for sure.
Healthy.
Right.
For sure.
You have to protect yourself as a voice coach.
Mm.
Voice coaches get very attached to their students. Or can get attached to.
They can get it attached to the outcome too. The student,
right.
The student winning, the student getting better gigs, the student having success.
It's too much burden to bear.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much burden to bear. And so my advice for coaches would be to not bear that burden.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to have people that are go-getters that are going to get it done, that are going to make you proud, that are going to get better. So it's not like you're not going to have that really great story to tell and a handful of like 10 or 15 people that are kicking butt. That's going to be there. So it's not like you're losing out on any fun success stories at all.
Right.
Just leave it on them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I share one more thing that I think is pretty cool?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's mindset for voice coaches. I know I learned this lesson the hard way, and I know you guys have too. Your students you will always care far, far more about your students than they will ever care about you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's probably very true.
That's why we don't get too attached.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, absolutely. That's some words of wisdom right there for sure.
I think so. I mean, what do you think, Tony? I mean, do you think there's something to that?
Absolutely. In fact, I kept thinking about when I was teaching, I had someone observing me and they said, Tony, you know, you're giving out more than the student is giving. Meet them where they are. You're working 10 times harder than they are. Why are you doing that to yourself? Because I'm the more nurturing. I think there's a difference between nurturing and coddling, but y'all might disagree with me on that. But
I'd only disagree because I know her.
because I'm more nurturing. But I did learn to meter myself and not give so much of what's coming back to me.
Mm-hmm. Advice to young coaches that are listening to us. Advice, it's a survival thing. Be careful, because out of the gates, you're really super energetic and you're excited and it's a fun job. And there's just so many lovely things about it, especially early on. But be careful. Don't get too attached to your students, because you'll get let down. You'll get let down as the years go by, and it can kind of make you feel a bit like it's not as much fun anymore. So be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Protect yourself. Protect your energy, yourself, for sure. So, okay, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
What did he do? I didn't see it. For those who are listening, what did you say?
Put up the shield.
Yeah. Okay.
I did the universal voice coach, salute of honor.
His arms are crossed in front of him. For those of you who are listening.
Only listening.
Yeah, only with rock and roll fingers. Yes, absolutely. Rock on, dude. So okay. So how you are now, tell us where and tell us what you're doing and what's really exciting coming down the pike, because I know you got something really cool coming.
Well, with the Vocalist Studio with singing, at the moment we are curating numerous online courses that we're offering on my website. So I have this high-tech website that offers these online courses. People purchase, they go in, they watch videos and learn how to train. So we are at the moment implementing 10 courses. Of the 10 courses, 6 will be in English and the others will be in French, Italian, German, and Hindi.
Wow.
So we're going to open up, and it's Vocalist Studio methodology. It's my certified instructor. So we're going to open that up to these other languages. And there's a lot of technology and headaches that goes into making it all
with
work.
sub-captions? Is that with captions or somebody
Nope.
voiceovering or what?
Nope. We can do captions. I have done captions before in the past, but this is actually certified instructors, TVS certified instructors teaching in their language.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so the interesting segue to that is I'm the one that coached them and helped them and taught them how to get in front of a camera and teach to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So the other part of answering your question is I have, in the last 3 years, I've pivoted some of my time into an entirely different business, which is called CourseCREEK.com. Course as an online course, Creek as in a little river, CourseCREEK.com. And it's an agency consulting firm where my team and I help other coaches, musicians, but life coaches, business coaches, coaches of any kind, learn how to monetize their expertise through online courses and get scalability. And honestly, that's the thing that's getting me jazzed the most these days. Right. Because it's absolutely fantastic to be mindset. As a voice coach, getting into about 25 years, no regrets, loved it, fantastic, still doing it. I have a lesson right after this interview. Still doing it, but there was something that was missing that I had in the past, and something wasn't quite right. It's a long story, but one of the things that wasn't quite right, it sort of ties into what we were talking about a little bit, is that as a voice coach, we tend to sort of sell our time one-on-ones. In particular, the one-on-one is not scalable. It doesn't scale. And after many years of doing that, it can be very frustrating. So I just realized through a few years of commiseration and soul searching mindset, I realized, why is the thing that I used to love so much and I used to define myself by become the thing that is making me so frustrated and sometimes not happy? And I realized it's because at this point in my career as a voice coach, I've underemployed myself and I don't have scalability. And to be completely honest, I'm getting kind of tired of hanging out with adult children. and I can say that because I happen to be one of them. Okay, musicians. Hey, I'm being totally honest with you guys. And the reason I want to be completely frank and honest is because I want the listeners to really get value out of this. And this has changed my life. And I was a man on my knees in tears. Wow. In this big, beautiful studio in Seattle, you know, with a lot of success and tours and everything as a voice coach. And yet not, what's happened? Why am I not happy? Because I've underemployed myself. There's no scalability. And I think I'm getting kind of tired of the crowd a little bit, at least a little bit. I just needed a change. So I pivoted. I put on a jacket. I started marketing to the LinkedIn crowd. And we started offering online courses and helping coaches from all walks of life. And can I just tell you, ladies, it has been a blast.
That's cool.
People from all walks of life. And the other thing that's really fun about it is I'm working with adults. I'm working with people that get their homework done, that show up, that pay their bill, that do all this. And it is just fantastic. Now, I want to preface this by saying, I didn't leave voice coaching. It's not something that I'm going to like stop ever. It's in my blood. I'll always be doing it. I'll always be a singer, but it's really awesome to be able to do something else as well. So my advice is you don't only have to be a voice coach. It's a beautiful thing, but look inside and take a look at your other skills and talents and be open to carving away a little bit of time to build something else to get a fresh view.
I was just going to say, it sounds like you've really been refreshed. You practiced mindfulness to observe, hey, I'm getting kind of burnt out. What can I do to refresh and recharge? And man, it sounds like you have. So some of the people, who is your market that you're helping with courses? Are there musicians in your, or just really broad spectrum of online courses that you're helping people?
Super broad, Tony. It's everybody. Now, there are a whole bunch of voice coaches. I cut my teeth with voice coaches. So there's lots of musicians. But we have corporate culture transformation people. We have a coach that teaches millennials how to get a job and keep a job. We have 2 relationship therapists.
I'm signing both my sons up for that one.
Yeah, for
How about
sure.
yogis? Do you have a lot of, there's so many like online handstand programs, online learn things. Do you have any?
Yoga.
Yogis.
I have two prospects that I'm in conversations right now that are yoga, big deal yoga rock stars that are, the yoga people move a little slower, but we're talking to them about coming on board to do yoga, and there's a special platform. Is that a thing? I'm not aware of it, but
Apparently it is, because she's the yogi of the 2 of us, and she's like a snail when it comes time to make a decision.
I've noticed that the business guys, like the MBA guys, are like, they're just, I give them my presentation on how we're going to help them put their book into an online course, and they're just, dude, you know, I'm dealing with somebody that's like JR from Dallas. Seriously, like, dude, bloop, 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 you need 30 grand. Bloop, 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 bloop. Here you go. Let's go. And that's exciting. But the yoga people, man, it is slow.
They got to move into it and
Yeah.
feel it out and get on the mat.
They're still doing downward dog while I'm already up and going, let's get this shit on the road.
I want to do hot diggity dog. Let's get it on. So
Exactly.
So anyway, and we have an anxiety guy, we have a diet person, we have, and I would like to share Claire best for last. Claire is Claire Gangadine. She's a real sweetheart, super talented. She's in England. She's got a cool accent, and she has sort of a yoga workout program for people that ride horses.
Okay.
That's a thing. That's
All
a
right.
thing. I didn't know.
I can see
so,
that.
Sounds like goat yoga, only bigger.
Well, no, it's like how to ride in the saddle properly and how to
Pose. You're kind of in that pose
bump
when
it
you're
out
getting
better. And I don't know what it is, but it's really super cool. She's super sweet. And I helped her make her videos, and she's now up and running, selling an online course that people can watch video content that own horses and learn how and get workouts to, get your come hither position better or something.
Well, oh, okay. So do they come to you to get all this done? Are they like in Seattle for a couple of weeks for all the production?
It's all Zoom calls and virtual.
Okay.
And my role in the company is face of the company, done it before, marketing, sales, business development. I'm the first point of contact that clients see. If they decide they want to move forward, what happens is I then hand them over to a team. So the other thing, the mindset thing in my story here, that's super cool that I want to share is that I noticed that as a voice coach after many years, I noticed that it's lonely. Being a voice coach is kind of a lonely occupation, especially if you're, contemporary. You're not in a school. We around a lot of people, I presume. That you're sort of solo.
It's still only there.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see my colleagues. I'm in an office with the door shut.
I mean, if I could tell you all the Friday nights, the Saturday nights, I just gave blood for 8 to 10 hours, and it's now 7 o'clock, and I'm in a dark, quiet studio, and now finally I get to sing, and I sing by myself, and it's just something really lonely about it. But the new business, I get to lead a team. I get to manage, and it's been super fun. So every Tuesday morning, I'm Robert, the CEO, and I'm managing this talented team from 4 different continents. People coming in, and they're not musicians. They're website builder people. They're instructional design curriculum people. And
quite a team. I looked on the site. You've got.
How'd you put these people together?
The Pied Piper.
I don't.
Wow. Yes.
That's a good question, Tony. I don't know exactly. All I can say is in my past, even as a voice coach, I found myself I always find myself leading. There's people will get behind me. So here we go again. It's the same Rob you guys love and know. It's the same guy, just with a blazer on and a different service to sell. And anyways, I'm trying to tie it into the singing because I know this is about vocals, but that's been really fun to be around other bright people and learn from them and feed from them as well. And if I'll tie it back. So when I'm making client presentations, I always show them the Vocalist Studio website. I always tell the story about where I came from and all these things that we've done as a voice coach. And they like that. They tend to really enjoy it. They think it's sort of cool to work with the guy that has this interesting, like you and me, the voice coach thing. It's sort of this cool. It's cool. Like, it's cool to the LinkedIn crowd. So they kind of enjoy that.
That's funny. Okay. Wow. Well, that's great. I think this has been good. I think our listeners will love this, especially the young coaches that may be listening in. And
I really care about them. I care about them.
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
young coaches. Yeah, take our advice.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your time and your wisdom with us and your energy and the great things you have ahead. And we look forward. I even joined your CourseCREEK today and searching out a little bit more about you so I could see what you're up to and see.
Yay, that's so cool. You got my little email sequence thing, right?
Got the first one. I'm going to forward it to Denise.
Hey, out at the Vocalist Studio, the singing website, which is thevocaliststudio.com.
Yeah, so people can find you. Say that one more time so people can find you.
It'll be in the show notes, but go ahead.
All right. So if you want to take a look at the vocal training, it's The Vocalist, one singer, thevocaliststudio.com. Go out there, take a look at that. If you're interested in scalability, online courses, e-learning solutions, go to CourseCREEK.com. Both websites have a little pop-up, a little lead magnet pop-up that offers you a free mini course. Sign up for both of them. And the one for the singing is pretty cool. It's 10 myth-busting lessons on myth-busting about singing, things that are getting in people's way in their vocal training that we're gonna stomp on and make sure that it doesn't sit in their way in regards to mindset.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for joining us today. All the best and all the things you're doing.
Thank you, ladies. It's a great pleasure and a privilege.
Thank you so much for listening. We are very grateful that you joined us today.
If you like this podcast, please subscribe, write a review, share it with a friend.